no knowledge of it at all. But the planet Saturn is very important in world affairs, in theology. In the Islamic belief, the holy city of Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, Mecca has a Masonic circle, and within the Masonic circle is a square, because you got to do everything on the square, remember. You have a town square, you have New York Square, you have Vatican Square, you have Red Square, you have all kinds of squares. Why? Because this is Masonic, and it goes all the way back into the ancient world, the terms and symbols. Again, the planet is called the Black Square. It's called the Dark Sun, the Black Sun. This is what the Nazis and the SS and the Gestapo wore black. That's why priests wear black. That's why judges wear black robes. Why do you think a judge wears a black robe? He wears a black robe because when you used to graduate from university, you wear a black robe. Why black robes? Darth Vader wears a black robe. What the hell does a black robe have to do with anything? The judges wear black robes. You know, Supreme Court judges wear black robes. Black robes represent the priesthood of the planet Saturn, the Saturnalian Brotherhood. All you need to do is study Nazism, and you will begin to see that the powers behind the Nazi Party, the Thule Society, the Germanian Order, were all members of something called the Saturnalian Brotherhood, the Brotherhood of Saturn. Saturn was the god of darkness, chaos, and destruction. He teaches you a lesson. He will take your life if you don't listen to him. So consequently, Saturn was very, very important in the ancient world. Thank you. Saturn's name, incidentally, in the old Phoenician ancient Canaanite religion, in the Middle East, the old Phoenician Canaanite worship of the planet Saturn was the most important god of all the ancient world, was the planet Saturn, and his symbol, long before the Hebrews were ever in Canaan, the symbol in Canaan for the planet Saturn was a six-pointed star. Today we call that star the Star of David. There was no Star of David. It's the Star of Saturn. All of the Jewish reference books, all the Encyclopedia Judaica, you go to the synagogue, go up into Mulholland Drive, up to the Jewish University and spend 3 weeks there and look up Saturn. You'll find out that 98% of all Judaism is a worship of the planet Saturn. Better wake up and understand where this stuff comes from. Because if there is a God in heaven, if there is a divine presence in the universe that demands righteousness and justice, then you're going to have to rethink what we believe and where we're going and what the world is all about, because for the last 2,000 years we haven't done too well. Saturn was referred to as El, E-L. El was the god Saturn in the old Phoenician Canaanite system. And consequently, anyone that promoted the worship of El is where we get the word elder. You become an elder because you are worshiping El. And when you worship El and become an elder, then how did you get to be an elder? You got elected. So therefore we have elections. Now that you have been elected to be an elder, now you are one of the elites. Why? Because now you have moved up, like in an elevator. You are now moved up in society. Consequently, it's all money. It's all manipulation and exploitation coming out of Phoenicia, Canaan. It goes back to the old Sumerian, Babylonian systems of words and terms and symbols and emblems that have been used to manipulate the whole human race. Because our masters don't give a damn about you or your family or your destiny with God. All they care about is what they have always cared about, and that's controlling the whole damn world.
So there's the black sun on the left. There's the hexagram. There's the hexagon on top of Saturn. And then we have Cronus. What I'm emphasizing here, what I'm trying to show you is, these are all the same thing. They all represent Lucifer. They are all symbols for and of Lucifer. That's why they use them. That's why they use this symbology in their worship. It's because they represent, these symbols represent a deeper underlying knowledge. Now look where I found the black sun. I did a search for the black sun, which means Lucifer and Satan. Look where I found it here in the Hall of SS Generals in, I think that's Wewelsburg Castle, Germany. Look, it's right there on the floor. It's in the Azov Battalion patch, their rank. And look, they're holding a flag. There's the black sun, the symbol of Nazism there in the middle. The communism is Satanism. Get it? These are not groups, organizations of people that have your best interest in mind, that have the human interest in mind. They are not interested in your betterment. They're interested in controlling you. They're interested in controlling the power, the planet, having all the power. That's why these are militant groups. They're not there to have a dialogue with you. They're there for you to do as you're told, and if you don't do as you're told, you're either killed or imprisoned. Period. You see, these are anti-human groups. This is an anti-human religion. That's why it centers on cannibalism. It is anti-human. This mafia, this is their religion. The Khazarian mafia's religion is Saturnalia, is ancient Saturn worship, worship of the black sun. This is where it gets even heavier. Saturn equals Satan equals the black cube. Satan and the black cube of Saturn. One of the most mysterious symbols in our culture today is the black cube of Saturn. Saturn is not only the hexagram, it is also the cube. Here's why. The black cube is a representation of the planet's north pole, meaning Saturn's north pole, which forms a perfect hexagon with the diameter of each of its 6 sides being very close to the projected diameter of the Earth. The cube is a 3-dimensional representation of the 2-dimensional hexagonal North Pole of Saturn. That's why they're related. Look here, from Fritz Springmeier. This is the gentleman that wrote that book, The Illuminati, The Blood of the Illuminati, or that book that talked about the Illuminati. This is the same guy, former FBI, CIA. Saturn is an important key to understanding the long heritage this conspiracy has back to antiquity. The city of Rome was originally known as Saturnia, or City of Saturn. The Roman Catholic Church retains much of the Saturn worship in its ritual. Who gave us the Bible? The Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church retains much of the Saturn worship in its ritual. Human sacrifice? Is there a human sacrifice at the center of Western religion? Saturn also relates to Lucifer. In various occult dictionaries, Saturn is associated with evil. Look where else there are black cubes. Australia, Denmark, Manhattan, Santa Ana. Oh, and look, guess what also is a black cube? The Kaaba. That's in Mecca. And look at the rings that form around the Kaaba. These folks don't even realize who they're worshiping. That cube literally represents Satan. The cube, when flattened out, becomes a Christian cross. In Judaism, the 6-pointed Star of David represents Satan and originates from Saturn. Orthodox Jews wear the black cube of Saturn on their forehead, like the third eye, and call it tefillin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Look how the cube, when you unfold it, it forms a perfect cross. And then we see here, look what's on this dude's head. The black cube. And what does this tell you? Satan is Saturn, is represented in the hexagram, is in the black sun, is the black cube, is the cross. The black cube in Mecca in the occult is called the hypercube. It represents mind control. That's why the TV is black and cube-shaped. The graduation hat is a black cube, etc. It's all mind control. When Muslims walk around the Kaaba in rings, it is a representation of Saturn's rings. Saturn equals Satanism. That is what you're giving your energy to. Same with Christianity. The cross, when folded up, folds into a cube. More mind control. Same with all the other religions, all based in Satanism and created by the dark occult. I'll never forget when I heard, Mark Passio. When I heard Mark Passio claim, I'll never forget this, when he claimed that all of Western religion was invented by the Order of the Black Snake. And I remember hearing him say that and thinking, there's no way. There's no way that's true. And what you begin to find out when you begin to study this stuff and you begin to hear guys like, who is it, Jordan Maxwell, and you begin to hear the information they have to tell you. Speaking of which, I'll just go to the next slide. You begin to understand that you've been deceived. You've been deceived because this group claimed God, and they claimed they had exclusive access to God, and you had to follow their symbols and rituals to know this God. That's mind control. And it was one of the most difficult characteristics of my life I've ever had to accept, and that is that I have been captured. I've been captured with mind control. And I've been captured with these symbols. I've been captured with these meanings and these traditions and these edicts that, you know, when you're born, you're this way, and you have to do these things to find resolution, and you're apart from God, and you're separated, and all this kind of stuff. Was coming to realize that all of these things were just simply means to control me and keep me from thinking for myself and keep me from being a free man. And that's exactly what the Khazarian Mafia wants. And it's the reason why I show you this stuff, is so that not only it conquers your fear, but it educates you, and it also tells you this is why it's the way that it is. This is why there's a six-pointed star. It has nothing to do with David. It has everything to do with Satanism. It's a sign of the 666. And people just don't know this. They just simply, they've been brainwashed with other ideas to cover over what's actually happening. And again, this goes back to that same theme that I talked about at the beginning of the essay. This group hides in abject secrecy. They do not want to be known, and so they bury themselves in symbolism and then tell you false meanings of those symbols, give you false ideas about yourself in your head, so you'll not only never know anything about yourself or the world, but you'll never catch them. And when I come to you on a day like today and I show this kind of stuff to you, it's so outlandish to many of you that you're like, there's no way. There's no way. This guy's nuts. And that is black magic defined. Continuing on from the cult of Saturn, notice on our little handy dandy map here from our friend Dylan Monroe, look how we have the Knights Templar there right below Rome and Baphomet. Did you know that the Knights Templar secretly worshipped Baphomet? Who's Baphomet, Chuck? This is Baphomet. There is all kinds of symbolism in this figure. First of all, it's a goat. That's an ancient, the goat is an ancient Egyptian god, Mendes, who actually is a representation of what? A black snake. And speaking of snakes, look at the snakes on its belly, the Baphomet's belly. Look at the scales on the belly and around the snakes. Look at the scales below the wings or along the wing edges. Okay, this is signifying the black snake. And then we notice that the snakes are crossing 3 times, once at their tail, once in the middle, and then once at the head. And the heads are what? They're looking at that circle at the top, which is the earth. Interestingly, look at this here. Here you see the Pope. Isn't it interesting? He has those same snakes. And they cross 3 times, and the snakes represent, obviously, Leviathan. And they're watching over that circle, which is the earth. And then look what's at the top of the scepter of the Pope, which is a cross. What does that say? The church rules the world. The church sits over the world as Lucifer watches it. That's what that scepter is saying to you. This represents the crossing of the 3 snakes, represents the lower 3 chakra. These are lower 3 chakra people. In other words, they have no heart. They have no compassion. They have no empathy. They are not concerned with the upper levels of the chakra, the spiritual experience. They are concerned with the mortal experience. That's why blood, the carrier of life, the giver of life, is their obsession. They are obsessed with the earth. They are obsessed with earth calendars, earth characteristics, the cosmos. This is why all of Christianity comes out of astrotheology, a cosmic idea of the universe. And these people see themselves as the ruler of the cosmos. That's because Satan is the ruler of the earth, the ruler of the material world, the ruler of the bottom three chakra. The bottom three chakra is the first chakra is just the gripping to life. It's a grim avidity, which is the holding to life for the sake of life itself, for no other reason but to be alive. That's the bottom chakra. And then the next one up is the sexual chakra. This is the projection of, this is the procreation. This is continuing your life and bloodline through the blood, through the exchange of the fluids of the body. This is all material. This is all matter. And then finally, projection, the power projection, which is the solar plexus, is the final place at the top. This is the projecting of your will, the projecting of your power onto the planet, onto others. This is the chakras that the lion lives by. The gripping to life, the spreading of his genetic, and then the killing and taking of life, power projection. And that's the lion's concern. The lion's concern is not home life. The lion's concern is not the betterment of other groups and other lions. The lion is concerned about himself. He's self-consumed. And so there's no empathy that's going to come out of that lion. There's not going to be any compassion that comes out of that lion. That lion is a predator. That is why these people use that symbology, is they see themselves as predator. They see Satan as a predator, a roaring lion that's devouring. This is what that represents. And of course, it's sitting on the earth. That's a globe that it's sitting upon. And then notice that it's androgyne. It's both male and female, and it is a beast. It is both hooves as well as a human torso. So this idea of androgyne, this idea of smearing the sexes and smearing the gender, these people love that idea. These people, that's why they prey on the kids, and there's this whole gender movement that's happening. It's because the Khazari Mafia is trying to capitalize on this androgyne obsession that they associate with Lucifer. It has nothing to do with the betterment of people's psychology. It has nothing to do with affirming people's drives and will. It has nothing at all to do with that. It is all entirely controlled. This is why those in Hollywood that sell their soul to Satan, when they have children, they're given the choice. They either raise their children as the opposite sex to which they were born, or they sacrifice one of them. So that's the choice. If you want to stay in the group and not die yourself, all your kids, you either raise them all the opposite sex to what they're born as, or you're going to sacrifice one of them. And that's the deal. These people, they're not, in other words, they're not doing this to affirm the psychology of the child. They're predators. They're preying on the family. They're preying on these groups that they control. And so we see that in this Baphomet, in this representation of the evil that they worship. The head itself, you can see, forms a star. The goatee forms the bottom of the pentagram, then the two ears form the sides, and the two horns form the top. And then that torch there is the light of wisdom. That's essentially the black sun. And it is through the balancing of dualism that one controls the mortal world. And so the two horns there at the top represent good and evil. Just like the hands, the two fingers, as above, so below, this is pointing towards dualism. The dualistic characteristic that is the mortal life. They are celebrating that. They are celebrating the mortal life. They are not concerned with transcendence. They are not concerned with orienting to the heart and orienting to the spiritual sense of loving one another. They have absolutely no desire or concern for that. Their concern is usurpation, taking. I take the innocence of those that I sacrifice. I take the innocence of those that I mind control, and I control them. This is what fulfills them. This is what you need to understand. When you don't have a heart, you get fulfillment through control. When you don't center on compassion, you get fulfillment through the taking of life. This is what fulfills you, what gives you energy and emotion and passion, is the taking of a free individual's life. This figure is a celebration of that evil. And by knowing this, not only